The Mueller report contained potentially damaging information on President Trump, information that could be used by our adversaries to undermine the U.S. Remember, Mueller's mission was to investigate Russian meddling in our election. And our next guest says the Russians and the Chinese would love to see President Trump take a political hit. Attempts by the Russians to meddle with the 2016 elections. So how closely is Russia watching for the Mueller's findings and other foreign entities for that matter? Dr. Rebecca Grant is here. She's a national security and military analyst. She's also the president at IRIS Independent Research. Dr. Grant, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So once the findings of the Mueller report are made public, do you expect any overt or covert reaction from Russia, China, or any adversary?
Covert reaction, of course. I think Russia is eagerly anticipating the release of the report. Putin's internet trolls are at their keyboard because, Arthel, no matter what this report says, Russia will try to use it in their ongoing cyber campaign to split Americans, break up NATO, and make our public debate nastier.
And, of course, we've been focusing on potential legal repercussions from the Mueller report. But again, as national security and a military analyst, what fallout in that regard might you be anticipating?
Well, from the national security perspective, we have to keep in mind that the U.S. is engaged on a daily basis in cyber competition with Russia. Our forces at U.S. Cyber Command have a persistent engagement with Russia. We may also see some impact from China, too. And the whole purpose of this investigation was to look into how much Russia had tried to influence that election. They've done that not only here, but in many countries around the world. So this, Arthel, is just the world that we live in. Russian attempts to stir up and influence democracy. They want to keep it at the level below armed conflict, but this is how they are fighting the West today.
And as President Trump celebrates that the Mueller report is showing no collusion, do you think that the president should turn his sight now on saying, hey, Russia, you didn't help me win, you didn't include my campaign, but you did meddle in our democracy, so you need to stop it, basically?
Well, and we have seen this. Congress has given U.S. Cyber Command a lot of new authority to be able to take actions in the cyber domain and push back against Russia. Now, they won't tell us what those are because they're very secret, but we do know that we have this new authority. General Nakasone has reported this in his testimony just last month. So it is a new and different world from what we saw in 2016 already. And be sure that President Trump is well aware of this. We are constantly engaging with Russia on a daily basis.
Right, but how public should he be in rebuking their efforts and their success so far, actually?
Well, it all fits into his larger Russia policy, and that is for him to say. And I think there needs to be a strong statement to push back. But, he's been pretty strong in threatening to pull out of the INF treaty and in taking other steps. So this is a very, very delicate case. I think we'll know more when we see the report. But the reality is that he is the commander-in-chief, and our military forces are pushing back on Russia in cyber every hour, every day.
Okay, that's a good point. And again, as we wait to see what's in the report, depending on what we find or what is discovered, is there potential for President Trump's effectiveness to be compromised on the world stage, in the geopolitical scene?
Well, that's what Russia and China want. Now, China's sort of the junior varsity player. They go after trade secrets and military secrets more than political gain in their cyber activity. But it was a lot easier for Putin in Russia and Xi in China before Trump showed up. So China will be looking for anything that can hurt Trump in the ongoing trade talks. And of course, as we know, Putin looks for anything that will damage any of the NATO members.
And do you think, Dr. Grant, do you have any concerns about national security impact if the Mueller report is released in its entirety?
Well,